Today, I have a great fortune of having a very, very seasoned HR professional in our midst. I'm really pleased to welcome Richa Dogra. Richa is the Director of Global Talent Acquisition for a Fortune 100 company. She brings over 17 years of rich, varied experience in all facets of human resources, very seasoned. And in her current role, she's responsible for leading the recruitment strategy and delivery for technology, digital analytics, and risk functions of this large multinational in India. In the last 17 years, she has managed different aspects of HR across cross-cultural environments. Those are in ITES, BFSI, and also recruitment. Extensive experience in building processes, as well as driving strategic change initiatives from scratch to successful implementations. Prior to where she is today, she worked with Citi Financials and EXL Services as an HR business partner. She holds a bachelor's degree in science, MBA in human resources, certified organizational development coach, and NLP practitioner. She lives in Gurgaon, India, and she has this really handsome 9-year-old German Shepherd called Stalin. So welcome, Richa. Thank you. It's a great pleasure to have you on the AdPace live stream.
Thank you so much, Ravi. Pleasure's all mine.
Awesome. So I'll kick this off with a simple question, which is, can you describe the state of the job market in India specifically?
Sure. I think I'll start by saying these are very interesting times, especially in the India job market. The talent dynamics have completely changed, especially in the last 1.5, 2 years. The job market in itself has grown by almost 57%. And India is actually witnessing never seen before activity in hiring. So in the last 17 years, I've never seen the war for talent being as intense as it is right now. If you look at the ITES sector, I think that in itself has created almost 500,000 jobs in this year alone. And there's a lot of market opportunity around digital transformation, cloud, data analytics, cybersecurity. All of this is fueling the job creation. There are other changes in the market dynamics. This has completely become a candidates market. And I would say not just in India, I think globally we're seeing that change and that shift. But of course, things are a little more pronounced in India. A lot of people are looking to change jobs this year, more so in the India market. The compensation is going through the roof, where I think traditionally comp increases would be around say 30%. Right now, they're going as high as 150% to 200%.
Wow.
So it's just, I would say, going literally crazy, for lack of a better word, Ravi. And like I said, in India, it's more pronounced, more workforce is looking to change jobs. In fact, there was a recent survey that I came across which said that the intent to switch jobs in India is 62% versus 42% globally. So the talent war is just at its peak right now. Of course, we do see some signs of things stabilizing with the startups, which had fueled all this growth. The startups stabilizing and all of them sort of reducing or trying to cut down on their cost and changing that dynamic a little bit. But again, I think it will be some time before things sort of stabilize more in the market. Otherwise, I think there is just so much more opportunity right now than there has ever been in the past.
I think you're spot on to note some of those trends, because in speaking with professionals who are located in different geographies other than India. So for example, we've been speaking with people here in Singapore and in ASEAN, and also with professionals who are based in the US. They seem to be at different spaces than what you are encountering in the marketplace. And that is quite interesting. There is a fair bit of belt tightening, or at least proactive belt tightening, that we are seeing in some of the other geographies. Are you seeing that in the Indian space as well?
Not so much right now. Like I said, more so on the startup side. That is definitely happening there. There's a lot of pressure for them to cut down on costs, and that is where that's happening. But otherwise, I think it'll be a while before that starts holistically in the market. Okay. Because ITES is certainly fueling a lot of the growth trend, because with all organizations who are wanting digital transformation, there's a lot of work that's coming to the IT service sector, like some of the organizations like Infosys and HCL and TCS. A lot of work is coming there, and they're the ones who are creating bulk of the jobs in the market. So I think it will be a while before we see a lot of that belt tightening happening in India. But it's anybody's guess. It's something that's definitely going to happen.
So I think that's a good thing that you're seeing that further down along, maybe about, do you see that happening in the next 3 to 4 quarters, or do you see that as a more midterm trend, that kind of thing coming through?
More midterm, not immediately, because right now, even as we speak, the volumes are not decreasing even for us. We are seeing similar trends in terms of offer drops. We're seeing similar trends in terms of candidates having multiple offers at hand. In fact, 70 to 75% of candidates that we make offers to already have multiple offers. So that trend, I think it will take some while for it to slow down, at least in this market.
I hear that, I hear a rumor, and I don't know, I don't have validated data on this, but I hear that on an average, the number of offers with a good qualified candidate is between 4 to 5. Oh, wow. So that is true.
It is true. It is true. And in fact, every day I get a lot of requests on LinkedIn saying, I'm serving my notice period and I'm keen to explore opportunities. And same goes for my team as well. I mean, they're getting constant messages from people who are serving notice period. And the fact that the India market has a long notice period, 2 to 3 months. So it gives the candidates enough time to go and explore better opportunities other than the ones that they already have at hand.
This reminds me of a previous time in my life when we used to have the same kind of situation, especially when there was a boom, the .com and that kind of time, where we were literally struggling just to staff. And that was a really tough time. It looks like some of those trends are back again in the marketplace. What advice do you have for people who are considering a job shift at this point in time, or who are considering offers? What would you want them to think about before making choices?
First thing I would say is, don't do it because everybody else is doing it. Okay, do it if you think it's the right decision for you. Because right now it's about, oh, so and so has got a certain package, so let me try and either match that myself or get something better than what my colleague or my peer or somebody who was part of my batch in college is getting. Right? So there's a lot of that comparison that happens constantly. And I think that's the first thing to avoid, because it is that leads to a lot of not so good choices and not so great decisions in life. And that's the first thing I would say. Don't do it because you see everybody else doing it. Do it because you think it's the right thing for you.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't help that every time that you go on LinkedIn, all you see is starting a new position. Oh my God, there is so much of that going on. It almost feels like I'm back in school with so much of peer pressure, it's just building up. And so it's a great advice that everybody's situation is different. So let's try and figure this one out from your own personal lens, rather than from the lens of what's happening around you. I think that's great advice. I have a specific question, and this is more towards a number of people who are coming back from a career break. Now, they could be because they went off on paternity or maternity, or they just took a break because of personal reasons or health reasons, and they're just looking to come back. This returnee population, how would you want them to approach this peculiar job?
Ravi, a lot of conversations happening right now. People returning to work. A lot of organizations are focusing on that. There are different programs in different organizations. There are different partners that we are working with who specialize in bringing returning mothers or people who have taken career breaks back into the workforce. My advice to these people will be, first, have the confidence to know that it's okay for you to take a break and it's okay for you to come back, and you will definitely learn. And keep that open mind about learning. Also, seek out opportunities, because a lot of organizations are putting it out there that we are bringing back people who are on career breaks. Keep a lookout for that. Be proactive around it. Don't wait for somebody to come to you because they don't know. But they are putting themselves out there. The organizations are putting themselves out there to say, hey, we're looking to bring back people who have been on career breaks. So keep a lookout for those There are different organizations who support women, and they work with other companies to sort of support in creating that pipeline of women who are returning back. Be in touch with them, enroll with those organizations. In fact, I was just on a conversation with panel earlier today in the morning, and we were having conversations about returning people and women in the workforce. And I think just be actively aware of what is out there for you is the first step. And second, just keep an open mind. Just because you've taken a career break doesn't make you any less potential candidate than somebody else who's already been there. So everybody understands people who've been on career breaks may not necessarily be able to answer the questions that somebody who has been continuously in the career, the workforce. So everybody is cognizant. Organizations who are hiring such people are cognizant. So have that confidence, I think, and just be proactive about it.
So first of all, thank you for sharing that. And I'm so glad that you brought up the panel from this morning, because I think that is a big part of the support ecosystem that we are also trying to support, is to see how can we get returnees to get more confident around the job process. As you rightly said, it may not be an issue of skill as much as it is an issue of mindset and confidence. So I'm so glad that you bring that piece up, because that is a key part of the overall proposition that we're trying to build also in our communities of practice. So this is kind of a very interesting space to be in. One question which is a slightly tangential move to that one is, there is also people who are looking to transition, probably from a different role into a certain sector. Now, this is a great opportunity because as the market heats up, the opportunities also open up. Do you think organizations like yours and others that you are connected with are open to people transitioning into the sector?
I think yes, most definitely. It's already started in the market. There was a lot of conversation about the great resignation, the last 1 year. But the workforce is not just changing jobs. They're also looking, to seek careers outside their industry. So the great resignation is also now becoming the great reshuffle. Yeah. And I think there are about 68% or so, I think, if I remember correctly, a percentage of people who were looking to switch jobs were actually looking for a job in a different industry, change their industry. Burnout is getting so common. More work-life balance is what people are looking for. Soul searching is happening more after the Delta wave in the market that we saw last year. So all of this has really changed the way people look at their jobs, what they do, how they do it, where they do it from, what is their priority in life. And a lot of them have started switching industries. Organizations are open. The talent war is anyways, like I said, so intense. There's a lot of open-mindedness to look at people coming in from different industries also, because they also bring in a different perspective altogether. So it's a common phenomenon happening globally. A lot of people are moving back to smaller towns to operate from there. A lot of people are prioritizing their families. A lot of people are starting things on their own. So I think we're seeing a lot of that change in the market, and organizations are definitely embracing that change.
That's excellent. I wanted to ask you a question which is around transferable skills. Now, people who are coming in from other, let's say, industries or from adjoining or adjacents, how would you want them to write a CV or mention their transferable skills so that, like recruiters in your team that you lead, would be able to pick that up? Do you have some advice around how they can highlight their transferable skills to make it more useful for them?
There's definitely one advice that I have where, there are different kinds of jobs that people apply for, and a person may have multiple skills that they have, that they can, turn on, turn off, depending on the job that they're doing. But what we normally do is we have a standard CV, which we use everywhere. I think it's all right for us to highlight certain aspects in our CV, pronounce them a little more versus others, depending on the role that you're applying for. I'll take my example. Okay, I have done different roles in HR. I have done comp, I have done HR business partnership, I have done recruitment. So tomorrow, if I apply for a role in recruitment, I'll probably highlight things around recruitment a little more so that the employer knows what I've done on the recruitment side. If I'm applying for something as an HR business partner, I will probably amplify that a little bit. It does not mean that you're not demonstrating integrity. You're just saying you're highlighting a certain portion of your experience which is more relevant to the job that you're applying for, and it is absolutely fine for you to do that, because the employer doesn't know. The employer will probably get lost in a lot of things that are mentioned in your resume. So amplify things that are relevant to the job and talk about how that is relevant, how your experience is relevant to the job description that you see, or the requirements that the employer has. And I think that's one of the most important things. That's the first step, because when your profile gets screened in and you're sitting in front of an interviewer, then you can sell yourself. You can have a very rich conversation. But for you to reach that stage, I think it's very important in terms of how you position your resume.
I want to talk a little bit in that space about the roles of application tracking systems, or ATS, and the use of AI algorithms within these, let's say, scanning or sorting mechanisms. I also believe what you just said makes it a lot more plausible that the ATS would pick it up and not reject it right away, because you've got those keywords which are matching the job description. Have you seen this work better for some versus the other? In terms of customized profiles vis-a-vis generic ones that people send through?
Absolutely. So we have AI that sits on top of our ATS that helps us identify what's the best fit, or which candidates are more fit for the role. And this is not because somebody has customized their application or their CV, but more because the person has applied for different roles. And the person may be eligible for multiple roles, but the person's profile, the way it's written, will get shortlisted where it matches the most in terms of how it has been written versus the requirement for that role. And that's why I say that it's okay if your profile is a little different for the different jobs that you're applying for, so that your application tracking system is able to better match your profile to the job and not eliminate you from that. Also remember, application tracking systems are not 100% accurate. There is a certain level of accuracy, maybe around 90%, 95%. It is not 100%. So make sure that as you are writing your CV, it aligns to the job. Again, talk about what you have done. Talk about what you've really done. Yeah, because it's not about just copy pasting what's in the job description on your CV, because when your CV does get shortlisted, you do come in front of the interviewer. The interviewer will ask you a lot of questions, and they can make out, how authentic the resume is. So be authentic. Don't negotiate that for anything else. But it's just about how you're amplifying it. And ATS will pick up your CV as a match, depending on how it's written. So I think, again, like I said, it's not 100% accurate, but you just increase your chances of getting screened.
That's a very good pickup. I think it's about not trying to copy paste what's on the job description. It's only amplifying the things which are most relevant and using different versions so that they start to create sort of a holistic profile within the ATS along different jobs. Last question to help you wrap this up, and this is slightly controversial. A lot of us, when we go out into the job market, tend to become job stalkers. Have you heard that term? So you stalk jobs. Basically, I'll go onto your organization and I'll find anything that remotely matches me, and I just keep apply. And that's what we used to call in when we were back in recruitment. I used to be back in recruitment. I used to call them job stalkers. So basically, they're just stalking any possible job that they can get their head into. How would you recommend that or play that against what you just said, where you say you look for different roles and then try and apply to them simultaneously with different profiles, vis-a-vis just being a blind job stalker? Could you provide your perspective on that?
Yeah, I think I didn't catch the word. I think it was stalker. I thought it was stopper. But yeah, that's a very, very common trend within the organization. And I see that even existing employees. So you have internal job postings where internal employees can apply, and you have, of course, external candidates. We see both segments doing that. Even internal employees will go apply for every single job that they see. You will have an external candidate who really aspires to join your organization and then just apply for every single job that they see. It obviously does not help anybody. Especially now, the way we have applicant tracking systems and the way that we're managing, screening through AI. Sometimes you might just click, but you're not clicking because you've applied 10 times. You are clicking because your profile is probably relevant for a role. Sometimes people do get disheartened that, I've applied for so many roles, but I'm not getting a call. That's probably because your profile is not matching up with what the requirement of the job is, or at least it's not been written in a way that it gets shortlisted for the role. So applying for hundreds of roles will not help, but applying the right way to the right job definitely helps.
That is such a powerful thing to say, because I think a lot of people who are out there in the job market also have very high levels of anxiety.
Yes.
Right now. And I think part of what you're telling them is don't be anxious and just push every single button that you can find, because that's only crowding your chances. Be focused, find something which is useful, and then go after it. So I think that's a great advice, because the anxiety will not help you get anywhere. Focused action will. So I think that's exactly what you're also translating back to people in the market. So thank you for that. Any final words of wisdom for people who are transitioning into roles, looking for job changes, or looking to return, that you would like to close with?
I would definitely say, if you're returning back, this is the golden time. A lot of organizations are looking to hire people. They are willing to invest in learning and development. They are willing to invest in growth opportunities. So the time is right, and the time is ripe. So I would definitely encourage people to go ahead, especially if they're returning back.
Awesome. Now, if there were people who were trying to reach you, I know that you probably don't need any more people trying to reach you, because you're probably flooded already. But if there were professionals or there were people looking out to reach you as a mentor or for advice, what's the best way to get hold of you?
LinkedIn is a great way. Drop me a message. Let me know how I can help. I have a lot of messages on LinkedIn, but I don't always reply very promptly, quite honestly. But I do make sure that I read up every single message that I have, and whenever there's a request like that comes in, I make sure I respond back. So I would say LinkedIn is the best way to reach out to me.
Fantastic. So thank you very much, Richa. I am super pleased that we had this chat, especially in the light of what's happening in the marketplace and the initiatives that you're leading for returnees and career breaks. I'm super excited for the work that you're doing, and I want to be thankful for coming on and sharing your insights with the world.
Thank you for having me, Ravi. It's my pleasure.
Welcome.